Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a story that feels like it's straight out of a blockbuster movie. It's about a battlefield where one side seemed completely unstoppable, dominating every inch of the territory. The field, for all intents and purposes, belonged to the enemy. They had the numbers, the resources, and a strategy that seemed flawless. Every attempt to push back was met with overwhelming force, leaving the opposition demoralized and on the verge of collapse. Hope was a flickering candle in a hurricane, and the situation looked bleak. The enemy's control was absolute, their victory seemingly inevitable. It was a classic David versus Goliath scenario, but this time, Goliath wasn't just bigger. He was smarter, faster, and had completely rewritten the rules of engagement. For those on the other side, every sunrise brought a new wave of despair. Then everything changed. It wasn't a massive army or a new superweapon that turned the tide. It was a single person. Her arrival was quiet, almost unnoticed at first. She didn't come with fanfares or grand pronouncements. She simply appeared, observed, and began to work. While others saw an insurmountable wall, she saw cracks in the foundation. While they saw a tidal wave of enemy forces, she saw the patterns in the currents. She wasn't a warrior in the traditional sense. Her weapon was her mind, her strategy a complex dance of logic and intuition that no one had ever considered. She approached the problem from an angle that was so unconventional, it was initially dismissed as madness. But she had a clarity of vision that cut through the noise and fear. She understood the enemy's strength wasn't just their power, but also the predictability that came with it. And in that predictability, she found their greatest weakness. She started with small, almost insignificant moves, shifting a resource here, relaying a piece of overlooked information there. It was like watching a grandmaster play chess against a brute force computer. The enemy, so used to winning through sheer power, didn't even notice the subtle shifts in the game. They mistook her actions for random, inconsequential errors. But each move was deliberate, a single thread in an intricate web she was weaving. She rallied the few who were willing to listen, not with grand speeches, but with quiet confidence and clear logical plans. She showed them how to turn their disadvantages into strengths, how to use the terrain they knew so well, and how to fight a smarter war, not just a harder one. Slowly, a flicker of hope was rekindled, not by a promise of easy victory, but by the dawning realization that the enemy was not invincible after all. The turning point came when her plan fully snapped into place. It was a chain reaction of perfectly timed events that dismantled the enemy's command structure from the inside out. Their communication lines were disrupted, their supply chains were cut, and their seemingly perfect strategy unraveled into chaos. The field, which had been their fortress, became their trap. The forces that once seemed so overwhelming were now disorganized and fighting shadows. She had turned their greatest strength, their reliance on a rigid top-down system, into their fatal flaw. She didn't defeat them with force. She outthought them, outmaneuvered them, and used their own momentum against them. It was a breathtaking display of strategic genius. The field no longer belonged to the enemy. It belonged to the idea that one person with a different perspective can change the world. This story isn't just about a fictional battlefield. It's a powerful metaphor for any challenge that seems impossible. Whether it's in business, science, art, or our own personal lives, we all face fields that seem to belong to the enemy, be it competition, a difficult problem, or our own self-doubt. Her arrival reminds us that the game can always be changed. It's a testament to the power of innovation, perseverance, and the courage to see things differently. So next time you feel like you're up against an unbeatable foe, remember her story. Look for the cracks, study the patterns, and don't be afraid to try an approach that nobody else has considered. You might just be the one to turn the tide. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, and keep challenging the status quo.